WhisykJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. Today I'm at the bottle market in Bremen 2021 together with
Tim Foster, Lindores Abbey.
Brand new distillery, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Four years in the making.
Yep.
Well, actually, many years in the making. We've been making whiskey now since December 2017.
Exactly. Very, very good. Now tell us a little bit about the story, because you are very intrinsically bound together with the history of whiskey, right?
yeah, you could say that. So, roll back to 1191, and there was the Earl of Huntingdon established the Lindores Abbey. I've got Lindores on here.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's not the most important fact for whiskey making. Roll forward a couple of hundred years, and King James IV requested that Friar John Core turn 8 balls of malt into aquavitae.
Right.
A bottle of aquavitae.
Yeah. Good.
Here.
Here.
So yeah, aquavitae in Latin, as you all know, is water of life.
Yep.
And in Scots, the old term for water of life was ushkabar.
Right.
So in modern parlance, we call it whiskey.
Somehow ushkabar became then whiskey, right?
Whiskey. Ushkabar. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that historical reference is very important to us. We didn't actually know I wasn't working at the company 20 years ago. The founder, Drew Mackenzie Smith, the family have owned the land where the distillery is, where the abbey is, since, I'll get this wrong now, but I think it's 1913.
Yeah. Okay.
Third generation family. About 20 years ago, Michael Jackson,
not the singer.
He might have liked single malt.
Who knows?
We'll never find out. So yeah, Michael Jackson visited the Abbey ruins. He knocked on the founder's dad's door and said, do you mind if I take some photographs? And Drew's father thought, it's very formal. Why is somebody knocking on the door? I mean, normally you can just go to the Abbey ruins and take the photograph. So he did that, and then about 6 months later there was a book through the door. You open the book up, and it was Michael Jackson's World, Scotland and its Whiskies. There was a handwritten note in there to Drew's father, so turned to page, I think 26, and they saw the pictures of the Abbey, and at the top it said, to the whiskey lover, it's a pilgrimage. And at that point, the penny drops.
Hey.
Well, what is this? We've got this Abbey ruins that we don't know much about, and then there's this guy making whiskey. Yeah, so evidently we made a distillery, but it took 20 years. At that point, the whiskey industry was in a downturn, Jason. So, even the big brands were closing. Rosebank, whoever else got shut, Port Ellen. So yeah, it wasn't the right time to establish the distillery. But gradually, the market started to rise. Someone contacted the founder Drew and said, "Look, if you're going to do it now." Yeah, lo and behold, 2017, we started distilling single malt lowland Scotch whiskey.
Now, the very first thing I want to mention here is I love the way you did your introductory commemorative bottling. So you basically said, I have a couple people, I did my video about this, and you still find a couple of bottles online in whiskey-based. People are trying to sell them for 300 euros because they were trying to flip the bottles. And instead you kind of said, okay, whatever you want to do, but we're going to do it differently. Could you explain briefly how you did this differently with your 2 different label designs?
Sure, yeah. So the difference is very subtle. There's actually a commemorative bottle just here.
Go for it.
He says, no, that's not one.
That is not one. All right, good, don't worry.
I think they've been put away.
Yep.
So the difference is a little bit of writing on the side there, and then there's a watermark on the front. What we wanted to do though is we wanted to price that whiskey at a similar price, if not the same price, so that people would actually open it and drink it. And that strategy seems to have worked.
And your first batch was, wasn't it like 40,000 bottles?
12,000 bottles for the limited edition.
Right.
And then I think potentially about the same amount for the standard release. So yeah, the strategy there was just so that people would drink the whiskey. Obviously, people have bought the whiskey, put it in the cupboard or sold it online straight away. That's going to happen. So, I mean, hopefully it's worked.
I loved it. I think thank you very much for doing it that way and having enough product at the very beginning that actually you could order and reorder, and you had different distribution partners. Did you launch in the States at the same time?
Yet to launch in the States.
Oh, okay. It's going to happen though, hopefully next year.
I hope it's soon. And, I don't want to give anything away.
All right.
Yeah, we're speaking to a really, really good distributor
Yep.
in the US. He looks after some great brands
Yep.
already. One of the brands is here. So, yeah, they're good guys.
Good. Now let's talk about the whiskey. So we have different types of casks as well. So could you explain a little bit of the cask composition?
Yeah, of course. I can't give the secret away.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we fill into first fill American bourbon barrels. We use Woodford Reserve and Old Forester.
Okay.
It's actually the same mash bill for those two whiskies.
I'm Brown Foreman.
Yes. So first fill bourbon casks. We use the SDR cask, the Jim Swan
Standard
innovation standard.
Standard innovation, yeah.
And I guess everybody out there knows what that is, but it's a rejuvenated red wine cask. It's been re-toasted.
Shaved, toasted, and recharred.
Exactly. In my opinion, it doesn't really taste like red wine at all, but it's got a rather unique tannin element to it, which gives you the kind of more woodier, slightly more bitter note in there. But it obviously gives you that much more
spice.
Yeah, spice and quicker maturation. And then lastly, we fill into first fill Oloroso. So the SDR and the Oloroso both come from Jose Miguel Martin. So obviously he's in Jerez. But so this core whiskey is composed of those. We recently signed an exclusivity agreement with Coro Avala. They're based in Montilla.
Yeah.
They do Pedro Jimenez.
Yeah.
We've got some casks from 1936, 1946. I'm going to get these numbers wrong. The 1936 definitely got, and then one from 1950s.
All right.
They leak a lot because they're really old. But the PX that was in them has been in them since those days.
Right.
So, yeah, we've upped our sherry game a little. Not the Oloroso sherry casks from Jose are fantastic.
Yeah.
They do a great job. But yeah, adding to our arsenal.
Adding to the arsenal, that's very, very good. Now, this was your first release. You also have the so-called the Aquavite here, which is a little bit different. Now, what else is going to come, and when will we have it here, maybe in Europe, Germany in particular? Is it will be 2022?
Hopefully sooner.
Okay,
so we're actually bottling another product right now. Each year we're going to do a series called the Casks of Lindores. We're going to showcase one of those three casks, bourbon, the Oloroso, and the SDR, due to stock levels and how we're trying to manage the inventory. We don't have anywhere near enough of the SDR cask.
Which we wanted in Germany as a single cask.
Yeah, and I can understand why that is. You know, it's a phenomenal cask.
Remember, we talked about it.
Personally, I think that our spirit works best in bourbon cask, but that's my preference. My palate, my nose are different to yours. So the first release is going to be a bourbon cask vatting. Can I say vatting?
Yes.
I'm going to say vatting.
Yes, you may.
Limited edition again, 12,000 bottles worldwide. Germany are going to get good allocation. So yeah, that's being bottled now. Should ship next week.
Okay, good. Oh.
If Brexit and COVID and anything else doesn't get in the way.
That's why I said it'll be here 2022.
Well,
I'm the pessimist. I'm sorry.
To be here soon, but I mean, it could be completely corrected.
You don't know. Now, tell us a little bit briefly about the distillery itself. Jim Swan was involved in the planning and so on, but double distilled, I think. Tell us about equipment capacity and so on.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. You're right. Jim Swan was involved in the design of the distillery, paying attention to how the process would work. We knew we wanted to release a young whiskey. If you're going to do that, you have to really get your spirit right.
Yeah.
And have great casks.
Yes,
good
both
policy. I mean, yeah, you could put crap spirit into good casks. Eventually, it's going to be all right.
35 years later, it might actually be great.
Of course, but if you've got bad wood policy, bad spirit, it's a no-starter. So I'm really proud of the fact that our founder Drew agreed with Jim that he would never compromise on quality. And there was evidence of that right in the build stage, where Jim had been working with Annandale Distillery, and he said, "Drew, you told me that you were going to do the highest quality, and you're going to stick to that." We said, "Yeah, of course. What are you getting at?" And he said, "Well, I've just come from Annandale, the project I'm working on, and their new make spirit is the best there."
I can almost agree there. I really,
I
and there
think
are a lot of similarities between your two distilleries.
Many similarities. Yeah, as you were aware, Jim had a process that he worked in. So Drew said, well, what are you saying? And Jim said, well, if you have 2 spirit stills, double the copper contact, you've got a much more refined spirit. So yeah, foresight, turnkey, installation, foresight, considered the Rolls Royce of the distilling industry. I have nothing against other manufacturers, but we thought that fits the bill. In terms of the rest of the process in the distillery, we've got Douglas fir washbacks, 10,000 litres, they're open top open washbacks. Obviously, I've mentioned we've got 2 spirit stills and 1 wash still.
Which is very unique but excellent. The results just confirm.
Thank you. Yeah, well, obviously, we're very proud.
Yeah.
As you might be aware, we're pointing to a bottle of new make. I don't know what you can see here.
Also, some of the you won. This is actually the world's best new make, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it's 2018 or 2019. Either way, World Whisky Awards, best new make in Scotland.
Yeah.
And we thought to ourselves, maybe we were the only people that entered the award. Genuinely, we thought. I mean, we think it's good.
It's good, but is it really that good? Yes, it is.
Yes, I mean that was a great moment in the trajectory of the distillery to be given that accolade.
Yeah.
We had people from the trade saying, "That's good, it's really good," and we were thinking, maybe they're just being polite. It's a good thing.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, so two spirit stills, 1 wash still. Dodo's a 10,000 litre wash still. In terms of the cut points, if it's interesting to people,
We like to nerd out, yeah.
we come on the cut at I think 76 and we come off at 66. So it could be 75 and off at 66. So we're chopping out before we get to the fainty stuff.
Right.
And we're trying to get as much of the high alcohols at the beginning. The stills have got relatively steep facing downwardly pointing line arcs. The reason I mention that is because our new make spirit is really oily.
Yep.
There's a lot of depth to that. Being in the lowlands, we're supposed to be making a light, fruity, floral whiskey. We've achieved the fruitiness. We do 5 days fermentation, between 5 days and 3 days. So financially, there's no sense in doing that. We've converted the alcohol after 2 days, 2.5 days. We're leaving it in the washbacks for longer. Additional esters are being produced. Secondary fermentation. Getting lovely tropical fruits, berry fruits happening. I mean, when it goes in the wash still, that's phenomenal. Mango, papaya, and all kinds of amazing stuff. So yeah, we're dedicated to flavour. I think is what I'm getting at.
I think we noticed that. Now, are there going to be peated and unpeated whiskies as well, or is it all unpeated? That was a question I shouldn't have asked.
No, I welcome your question and embrace it. There is a historical text, there's a historical account where the monks at the Abbey were given a royal decree to collect, I think, 30 or 50 cartloads of peat from a bog called Lady Bog, which no longer exists. It's now a town called Lady Bank.
Okay, yeah.
It's not far from us in fact. So that would lead you to believe that their major fuel source was probably peat. And we know that they were brewing on site, we know that they were distilling on site. You might imagine that they had peated spirit. Anyway, we're not currently doing any peated spirit.
Right.
We've filled some of our spirit into X peated casks.
Right.
Yeah, we can get rid of saying Isla, as long as we don't say which distillery.
Exactly, we can say Isla but not the distillery name. Yep.
Yeah, we can do that, and we can say that they're really small casks.
Yep. Maybe quarter casks?
Yeah, you're right. They're not half the size. They're about 4 of the size of a full cask. There are other peated casks in our inventory as well.
Okay.
From unnamed Isla distilleries. Our spirit works phenomenally well with peat influence. I mean, I would say that I like peat whiskey. I like fruity peat whiskey.
Yep.
Yeah. So there will, I guarantee, there'll be a release of peat cask matured spirit. But we do want to do something peated. I say we, myself, the founder, others at the distillery, his wife, our distillery manager Gary is a little bit reticent.
Hesitant? Okay, yeah.
As your audience will know, the phenols, they like to stick to things, so he thinks, quite rightly, that if he gets in his wooden washbacks, goes into his low wine and faints and
Yeah.
You know those, what's the oils called? The oils that build up in low line and face.
Right.
It takes a long time to clear that.
Yeah. True.
I mean, we could just get in there and steam clean everything, but we'll completely lose our character. And I have
So one distillery in Germany actually had the same problem.
Oh, really?
And what they did is they tanked their low wines in their thing and put it away for the 6 months and then put it back in at the beginning. So this problem is solved. They're not the first ones to do it. It's not a trade secret. You're welcome. Suggest that it's actually possible, right?
Yeah,
because that way, the first few years they did it, they actually had a problem. It was like, it takes us like 3 weeks to get back to normal. And now it's just like one run and then it's normal because everything is there, because that's where a lot of the flavor comes from.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you look at other distilleries, even Ailsa Bay, the William Grants, they do, I think it's 2 weeks at the end of every year. Right. They go on to peat and run some heavily peated stuff through. But then, like you quite rightly explained, you've got that tail. You know, some of these casks are going to have elements of peat and it'll peter out. I mean, with cask management, you should be able to get that, but we would have to know how long that, and this is the really boring inventory management, looking into the future with our future periscope and going, where are we going to be? People still going to love the peat? Obviously.
Probably.
No doubt about that.
Well, looky there, we've talked about a lot. What have I not asked that I should have asked?
That's a great question.
Have we covered everything?
I think we've covered most of the things about it.
But you do have Scottish barley.
Oh God, yeah. The barley grows. Thank you. I can genuinely.
You can see from the window, basically.
Yeah. You can stand. I can watch them planting the barley. I can't see it growing because it grows slowly. But then, I've been in the field when it's being harvested, which is dangerous. Because the combine harvest is big.
True.
But no, I wanted to witness it. So the owner's cousin is a farmer that owns the farm adjoining the distillery. So he grows some of the barley, and then another local farmer who takes the draft, he supplies the rest of it.
Right.
He's a clever guy. So he grows barley for us, sells it to us, and then we pay him to take it away to feed his cows.
Oh, usually he got it for free in the past, but you pay him. All right, good.
I think.
Okay, usually we have to pay for the drying of that. That's the heat energy was needed for that, but usually he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's a very smart farmer if he's actually making you pay him to take it back.
I'm worried now because if Richard, if you watch this and we're not paying you for it, please don't come and ask us.
No, exactly. All right, very good. So we talked about the barley. Maybe we might have to see about a little bit of editing here, who knows. But thank you very much. It was a pleasure here. People, if you have not found the Lindores bottle yet, buy it. It was my best new whiskey of the year 2021. It beat a lot of other things I've tried. I compared it in my video as well. You can find it online here on my channel. And I can highly recommend. Price point, absolutely nice. What is it in Germany?
42 euros, maybe slightly more. We've done a special price for this show.
Excellent. Perfect price, everything good. Thank you very much. WhisykJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American together with
See you, Master.
all the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.